tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
What we got working here?
It's let's see.
Good. This is actually an engineer's pick. Okay?
Yes.
So,
yeah, but it's perfect.
It makes sense though.
It's perfect.
It makes sense.
Wait, I'm trying to think who this is.
Dancing.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, we gonna rock it out. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Lim Gonsalves, and you are officially the Catfish After Show. We are excited, of course, because this is our second episode, and we're about to break it all the way down. Of course, I'm not here by myself. I always got somebody with me, but before I tell you who's with me, because it's just one body, but we gonna hold it down. We gonna hold it down. You can find me all day at the Poet Saint, all day, every day, on my social media handles. But the person that is in the building with me that's gonna hold it down for this next few minutes is my boy, Be Your Own Dad himself.
Hey,
Mr. Jimmy V. Bear. What's up,
man? You know I love the introductions. This your man, Jimmy V. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Be Your Own Dad. Hit the kid. This was an interesting episode, man.
Oh, well, I'm going to say it like this. I see what they're trying to do. Shout out to MTV. Of course, because this type of show, it lends itself to, when it first started, it was kind of a new phenomenon, right?
Right.
You had this whole catfish phenomenon, people doing this. They were finding, different ways to kind of prey on people and, do this in this dating type of situation, fall in love type situation.
Yeah.
Now we're into the 5th season. So a lot of the stuff, that people were doing in the past, people are now kind of privy to, and it's like, oh no, this is catfish.
Right.
So of course they have to try, and I think they're being successful so far, of finding new ways to not only people trying to catfish, but also new scenarios that we're seeing.
Different ways.
Right. So
which, we did see this one here is actually a person of a much older age who we know the younger people always on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Right.
We don't see anyone typically past the age 35 or son,
Well, I mean,
involved in
anybody
catfish,
on the show has typically been
situation.
in their 20s, right?
Exactly.
Typically,
yeah.
yes.
So that's one way they're obviously trying to switch it up here, because I don't think the mom would have known how to reach out to the catfish people, but as we saw her here, we had the daughter, Shantae.
Right. No, absolutely. What was last episode? It was basically a guy who was catfishing 2 people that happened to both reach in. So we had that kind of triangle situation last week. So this week, like you said, another situation where you have a daughter who her mom basically has recently been talking to somebody we found out, for a total of 9 months.
Yeah.
And, kind of feels like it's a catfish situation because all the signs are there, the catfish signs,
Of course.
There are signs of a catfish.
Can we talk about it quick? Just the whole video conversation, and she wasn't able to see the actual person.
Right.
I guess the person went so far to grab a black piece of paper and hold it up against. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's a tactic. And I think, whether they were trying to or not, like you said, this person, the mother that was being catfished, she was older. There was a lot of things she didn't know. We found out she didn't even fly nowhere.
Apparently.
So yeah,
she goes nowhere.
Right, exactly. So this is somebody that, as far as technology and those type of advancements, social media wise, this is something she got on Plenty of Fish, which is the website, she got on.
Which is actually pretty up to date for I'd say her age demographic.
Well, I mean,
over here.
she got on there, but the whole thing as far as, meeting somebody, she obviously that was the first time she tried an online date.
Yeah.
So, and, to reach out to somebody, and then the person that she got a hold of, started the conversation. And, again, we've said this before, it's usually during a time when they're kind of in a vulnerable situation. And she was, feeling lonely and, type of situation, and was kind of looking to see if she can meet somebody, met someone, and that person, proceeded to, talk to her. And what we always see, they develop this relationship.
Listen, I'll tell you, only time I go on Tinder is when I'm feeling lonely too. Okay, so that's why I can understand that. But I've never had any experience on Plenty of Fish. Have you?
So we're gonna move on.
Word? The people want to know, right?
I've tried it.
Okay.
I've tried it.
Were you successful?
No.
No.
I'm still single, obviously. So,
Got you. Okay.
yeah.
Soul Swipe is popping.
Soul
Go ahead.
No, you mentioned that before.
Yes.
I need to check that out.
All right,
Soul
so quick.
Swipe? What is Soul Swipe?
Out here in Cali, they've got the dating apps, Tinder, Soul
Well, they're everywhere.
Swipe.
They're not just in California.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I've come to find out on Tinder, you find mostly white girls.
Okay.
On Soul Swipe, you find black girls.
Okay.
So that's just how I differentiate, whatever the word is, the two. But I've found more success on Soul Swipe.
Okay.
So if you want to check that out, that is all
Soul
on
Swipe.
you.
Shout out to Soul Swipe.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
If you want us to keep talking about it, you got to pay us for advertising. Okay?
Right.
All right.
It is an
Move on.
exclusive. Right. So, well, going back to what we're talking about, this is Plenty of Fish. This is where she found her dude at. And so in this situation, she's talking to him, and like I said, it's all the all the signs of a catfish.
Yeah.
So the mom the daughter reaches out to Nev and Max and the catfish organization, and to basically see if they can help out her mom. So we find out that the daughter lives with the mom. The daughter also has a child, so
Yes.
it's a whole family situation there. All of
It's
them
deep.
together, right? And the mom has been talking to someone named Derick in Atlanta. They're in Orlando, and they've actually gotten really serious in this short amount of time, which I find it. I mean, you can look at it both ways. I mean, they were talking about marriage, and there was love, talking about rolling through there too, because the L word was there, and you're talking about only 9 months, and you're talking about no physical interaction, no meeting for the first time, just pictures. And so I understand you can, I'll say it like this.
Okay. Yep.
You can definitely build an emotional connection over time, and to the point where in these cases, and this is going on for 5 seasons, and that L word has come up a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like more than half.
Yeah.
Where they're like, I'm in love with this person, and that's why they're at their wits' end, because the person is obviously, not obliging, won't meet up, won't get together, gives them a bunch of excuses, but they're still so emotionally, because that's all they have to go on.
Right.
And I feel like the emotional connection is always going to be so much stronger than the physical connection.
Man, I got something to admit. All right.
Admit it.
My game is not strong enough to have a person say they love me in 9 months if I can't see them not one time.
And you know what? I will say it like this. I don't even think it has to do with game. Like, I really think it has to do
What is
with...
it then?
Well, I'll tell you. I will tell you, my brother.
Okay, now, preach now.
Soul Swipe aficionado.
Talk to me.
So, I think what happens is, first of all, it has situation. Again, we've already established these people are usually in a vulnerable situation.
Right.
Either they're lonely, or they've just come off of a loss, or they're in a situation where they're very vulnerable. Whatever it is, but they're at a vulnerable state. And what happens is this person, that they meet online ends up filling a void for them and takes them out of that state that they're in. Whatever state it is, depression or loneliness or what have you. And so because of that, they become attached to that person.
Yeah.
And then over time,
I got you, yeah.
they build that emotional connection, and then they end up falling in love. It's just, but I think, like I said, I think it's so much easier or so much stronger for that to happen than it would be on just the physical. Like, that's why people can basically get together, have a one-night stand, and then actually be like, I'm good, I'm
Right.
cool, and never speak to one another. They physically were connected,
Right.
but the emotional connection is going to be stronger because you're dealing with the heart. Physical is dealing with, the flesh. You're dealing with the heart when you have the emotional connection. Man, I'm preaching right now. Let me just let me wipe my brow. Let me wipe my brow. I'm just kidding. I'm getting, you know. But I mean, I think, and I'm just saying, like, you see, you watch the show, you see other situations where people are in similar situations and you have the same outcome. That's why I think, and that's why this show is very popular, because there's a lot of people. I mean, when we talked to the casting director last season, he said they get thousands of submissions.
Yes.
Thousands of them, of people, you know, in that situation that are trying to, you know, they want to reach out, want help, you know. And so because that's there, that just shows that a lot of people fall into the same category, whether they want to admit it or not.
I just think a lot of people are lonely, and they just want something.
Right.
Honestly.
Right.
Even if they can't see it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Right. Because it brings them out. And she's a prime example. She said that she was looking for someone, she found somebody, she started that interaction and basically fell in love. And was talking about she was gonna move. She was gonna move to Atlanta
after not actually seeing this person.
Exactly.
Talking about marriage.
Moving to Atlanta because of the emotional connection. Of course, she thinks that, you know, he looks like a model as well. That doesn't hurt. But the whole thing is there. The emotional connection is what the love comes from.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, you know, a person went out. So we find out that the person she's talking to, his name is Derick, 27 years old, so younger man.
Yep.
And you know, there was something that he said that really grabbed her, was that he had lost his mom, you know, some time ago. And so, you know, he was kind of vulnerable with her. And so that kind of drew her in, like, oh, wow, you know, he's sharing some intimate stuff with me. But
you see that game though, right?
Well, I mean,
open up first, right? Then slide on in there, yeah.
If you want to call it game, I mean, obviously they're sharing. I think it's just a matter of, like, it's not like yo baby, because to me that's game. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing like that. It's a situation where they're just sharing and they're, you know, swapping stories. They're you know, sharing intimate thoughts and feelings and all of that, and then over time that ends up building. But like you said, he won't meet up. Refuses to meet up, talks on a black screen, so can't be seen.
Only pictures on Facebook are of selfies too.
Exactly. And all the pictures that she had are all selfies.
Right.
So obviously it looks suspect.
Don't trust anybody who only has selfies on their social media.
Don't trust selfies, son.
Don't trust those.
So obviously, so the daughter, you know, writes in, and that's why they meet up.
Yeah.
So Nev and Max go in. She basically, you know, says basically the same thing. This is what's going on, but she really cares for this person and hopes that it's, you know, the person is supposed to be. You know, hopes that's the situation. So they go and they investigate, right, as they always do.
Of course.
And
Google,
right,
Facebook,
right, image search, all of that.
Instagram.
And then they end up finding out that there's a Snapchat. And that this person, Derick,
which was actually cool, because being that it's season 5, they've integrated a new form of social media now. In season 4, I don't think they mentioned anything about Snapchat.
I don't remember seeing Snapchat before.
That's a change.
Yeah, absolutely. And Snapchat is fairly new also.
Oh, well, actually, yeah. Kinda,
I mean, it's been around for a minute, but in regards to, like, when you look at Facebook and Twitter, it's a lot newer than that.
It's still new.
Right. So they see that this person's on Snapchat, so they're like, oh, okay, well, if they said they didn't have a camera, that's a lie, because obviously you got to have a camera on Snapchat.
Snaps on the snap.
One of the big thing is that the picture that they find of the same person, it shows that they're in high school and they're going to graduate 2016. So this person is talking, well, supposedly, that they're a senior in high school. And, you know, there's a bunch of social media handles. So there's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's a lot of followers, there's a lot of stuff coming up. And then they check the phone number, and then it comes with the name Derica,
which is the first hint to the actual truth.
Exactly. So they're like, Derica, it's close to Derick, but is this a woman? Like, what's really going on? Or is this someone using a different number? You know, because we've seen that before, where they use someone else's number. You know, since, you know, it could be their mother, or it could be a brother. The phone number is in, because all that's saying is that the number is assigned to this particular person. So they end up going back and they talk to Jeanette, and they let her know everything. And of course, like anything else, she's devastated.
Really crushed.
She's devastated.
At first, she couldn't get through her head that that wasn't the actual person that she was speaking to, because she said, "Am I talking to a baby?"
Right. Yeah. No. Well, again, it just goes to show where she was when it came to these type of things.
That's right.
Because of the picture showing a 17-year-old, she's just automatically assuming, I'm talking to a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Is that it? Because that's crazy. Not realizing that, no, he's using the picture, or this person is using the picture of a 17-year-old, doesn't mean that that is the person.
Yeah.
And most likely it's not the person, because they're refusing to talk to you, so that you can see their face. And so, to prove that. She feels like a fool. And I mean, she's in a situation like everybody else that gets this information. They feel violated.
Also, when you think about the amount of episodes we've seen with Catfish, the method the person used to actually cover up who they were was just simple pictures. We've seen people change their voice, which we kind of actually had seen, but then we've seen also other fake profiles of the fake profiles. So I'm just talking about the level of difficulty here wasn't all that hard.
Well, it wasn't, but then again, like I said, we're dealing with someone who wasn't privy to all this stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff she was green about, so these type of things, there wasn't really a lot that this person, the Catfish person, had to do to basically convince Jeanette that, was somebody other than the person who it was, for real. So, but yeah, we've seen people have fake profiles and a fake profile on top of a fake profile.
Hard, yeah.
They've gone to great lengths, but then also they're catfishing a lot of people.
Yeah.
And this is a game to them. A lot of times it's a game, or they're in a situation, where they're hurt and they're lashing out, or they do it out of spite. I mean, who knows the reason why.
Do you think she was the only one?
I think eventually she was, based after we talked to her, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I think, because, when they go and they find the real person and they're talking to that person, this person says, well, I was bored. And that's initially why they got on Plenty of Fish.
That's because everybody's bored.
Right. So they were bored. They put up the fake profile and then started, hitting up people or what have you. So I think initially it was probably reaching out to multiple people. But I think once Jeanette got on board, and then they started the dialogue, and then it kept going, and then they started sharing intimacies and things of that nature, I think it was just her. I think it was just the one person. Okay. And then afterwards, when we see, and we'll get to that, it proves why. So they end up calling Derick.
Yeah.
And Jeanette talks about while they're doing this, she talks about being a good mother and a good grandmother. I mean, she's just really like, I really feel bad about this.
Yeah.
Like, this was going to be my world.
Yeah.
And so they call Derick. Neve's called, makes that famous phone call to get them to, fess up.
He knows exactly what to say.
Exactly. And so the person on the line
Quick too, actually.
Right. Their name isn't Derick, because, come on, they know they're caught.
Yeah.
And so they admit their name is Derick. They don't say what their name is. They just say, my name's not Derick. And that's all they say. They did
reveal that I'm not 27. I'm actually 31.
Right.
Which I don't understand the difference between 27 and 31. I can understand if you're 31 saying, oh, I'm 22, but...
Well, the only thing I can think of as to why to change the age is just to match up the picture, because we know now the person in the picture is in high school.
Good point.
To say 27, I think it was a way to be old enough to be like, okay, because she's 40,
but still look
young enough. Because if she would have said her real age, then 31, it's like, this person ain't 31. Like, stop playing.
Exactly,
it's not a 31-year-old, right? But 27, maybe. I squint, And then, like I said, it's also old enough to still be, okay with being with a 40-year-old.
Right.
So that's why I think the 27 came up. And so they decide they're going to go to Atlanta. The person that is not named Derick, we don't know the name yet, decides that, come on over, we'll get it cracking. And so we find out that both Shantae and Jeanette have never flown before, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I always find that interesting. Whenever, I meet people and they say like, oh yeah, this is my first time flying, or I'm like, what?
Shantae's 21, which I can understand that.
Maybe.
Jeanette, though, she's 40.
40.
Never been on a plane.
So that means she's not gone anywhere very far, unless she's done like a 3-day road trip or something.
Right.
But me being someone who loves to travel, loves to see new things and new places, I just can't fathom that.
I actually thought it was real interesting, too. Before they hopped on the flight, Jeanette says, as you get older, it gets harder to meet new people.
I agree with that.
And I think that kind of reflected on the kind of person that she is, that she doesn't really get out much. She doesn't open up herself. So that's why this particular situation here really hurt her deep, because
absolutely.
she made the choice to actually open up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Made the choice to open up, made the choice to invest the time, and it was somebody that she felt that she could, eventually, get together and maybe even marry. Because, like I said, they talked about, the person on the end talking about buying rings and stuff, and she's getting hype, and especially they said that they were accepting of everybody, meaning they were accepting of Shantae, they were accepting of Shantae's child, like all of that. So she's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We can go in and we can do this, saying all the right things. And like you said, yes, it is harder when you are older, because your margin is really small too when
Very
you get
small.
older.
Yeah.
Because
you're
you kind
about the same age as Jeanette.
You just gonna put me out like that?
I mean,
is that
I
what
ain't
you're
gonna
do?
say,
Is that what you're gonna do? Really?
I don't know.
Really?
I'm kind of guessing here.
I'm out in these streets. Why you trying to put me out in these streets, son? Like, really? All right. Anyway, you just put me on blast, plenty of fish. Then you're gonna put my age out there. It's all
He's
good.
everywhere.
It's all good. It's all good. No, I'm 40 years old. I'll admit it.
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old.
Did we know that?
We did not know that, but it's all good. I'm proud. But to say this, I'll put it like that though. Yes, it is hard, because the filter is what ends up happening is you end up getting with people. I mean, you've kind of been around, so you know what you don't like, right? So when you're younger and you're out there in the dating world and you're trying to find yourself or whatever.
I can kind of relate, because now I'm 24, so I'm at that age. I'm young. I'm still meeting.
Right. So you're 24.
People
Right.
and such. Yeah.
So you don't know exactly what you want yet. You kind of got to feel, but then you kind of get with some, oh no, I'm not really into that. You're still trying to feel your way when it comes to the opposite sex and dating and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
When you're older, you've kind of been through those. You've been through certain relationships, and so you're like, okay, I want this, and this is all that I want, because nothing else has worked. So I know that my level, my status is here. This is what I want. So
taking down these notes over here. Okay.
So
know what I want.
Right, exactly. You know what you want, and you're not going to settle. And obviously, she has a child. She has a grandchild. She's fully
she's
grown.
established.
She's established. She knows what she wants, and so when she found this person, it was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been waiting on. Because obviously, up to that point, she was single. I don't know how long when her previous relationship was, but it sounded like it was right time. And so that's why she gravitated towards. And like with anybody, when you feel like that's the right person, then what ends up happening is you kind of miss a lot of other things, because you block some stuff out.
Of course.
And for her, the situation, even though, like I said, she's 40, she knows what she wants, but some of the other things about like not showing the face, only getting pictures, all this kind of stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but okay, but they say they love me and they say they want to be with me, so I'm just going to keep it rolling.
It just popped in my head. If you're 40, haven't seen, you've only seen pictures, no type of video, and you still trust that all this is actually true?
Well, I don't think it's a trust that it's all true. Something's up. You just don't
want
know
to
what.
believe it.
Right. And you don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
You know it's something, but you just don't want to believe it. It's denial.
Right.
What it ends up being. It ends up being denial. And because it's denial, you let it go, and you're just like, okay, well, let me just keep trying, because eventually you figure something's got to give. Right. And that's why a lot of people end up hitting Catfish, the show, because they're at their wits' end. They care about this person. They may even love this person. They know something's up. They don't know what, but a lot of stuff they're just letting go, and I just want to get to the bottom of it. I want to see if this is true or not, so I can move on with my life. And that was the same thing here.
Yeah.
That was the same thing here. So
they finally travel to Georgia, they meet Derick, a.k.a. Derica.
Yes. And it's a female. Which was kind of talked about or hinted, because, they were basically telling Jeanette that in previous episodes that they've done, where there's been women that has played men by their voice, having a deeper voice, or they've used a significant other like a sibling or a friend to actually play the voice, and it also still be a woman, because that's what they're looking for, but they don't want to put that out there. And so this was an example where she didn't hide, she just had a deep voice. You know, she had a deep voice.
Really deep voice.
A really deep voice.
You fooled me.
So they go over and, you know, they talk to her. And the whole time, I will say this. Sometimes you see the scenario and you see the person and they're like kind of have an attitude because they know they're caught. The jig is up, right? And so they're just like, and they might have an attitude like, yeah, well, this is me and da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? You've seen that before. Yeah. This particular person, Derica, she basically was like, she was very remorseful, in my opinion, about what happened and ultimately did not want to lose Jeanette.
She was genuinely felt bad. But she did say when Nev asked why, she was like, it's something to do.
Right. And that was the initial cause. It was something to do, and that's what initially happened. And this is what I believe. Yeah. Something to do, she put it out there. Like I said, I'm sure she was talking to several people or hollering at several people. And when she got a hold of Jeanette and they built that connection, I think that's when it turned real. And something to do became, oh, I really like this person. I want to see. But obviously now that and we've seen this before, you get so invested in now you really care about this person, but you're scared about the reveal because you don't want to lose them. Because especially in her case, it's a female and, you know, Jeanette was not attracted to women. So she knows that if she's not attracted to women, I say I'm a woman and I'm not the person in the picture, she's going to leave me. And her thing is like, I'm in love with her. I don't want her to leave me. So I got to keep this going as long as possible.
And I think it ultimately comes down to, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-conscious, self-acceptance of who she was. Because as we learn, she's been on her own since 16, you know, sold drugs, in and out of jail, blah, blah, blah. I don't think she's comfortable with who she is, so she's reaching out to anybody to attach to.
Absolutely.
Which she obviously found Jeanette here, and I just think that's just what it actually was there.
And then we also find out too, which was interesting because there's always a backstory to why people do these things, right? Like
Always.
It's always a backstory. And her backstory was interesting. She, you know, she was truthful about her mom passing away before she was 16. Yeah. Also, it was her grandfather passed away not long after that. So she was kind of on her own. She ended up, you know, selling drugs. She went to jail. When she got out of jail, she was homeless. And what she did was she started living and sleeping with older women. And so you look at Jeanette's an older woman, right?
Right, yeah.
So, you know, even though, you know, that was something she was doing to survive, ended up becoming something that she was used to. And I think when she was looking for real love and some real companionship, that's what she had before. So she was looking for that in an older woman. And I think Jeanette fit that perfectly for her.
Which a big shout out to the production team, because the fact that they actually share the backstory is something that us as viewers can actually learn from.
So absolutely. And I think that's even when you have the people that are kind of like have these attitudes and are really funky about it when they get, you know, when they meet and stuff like that, they don't seem like they have remorse. They do still have a backstory and they try to get into it. We don't always see it. Like in the last episode, we didn't see the backstory for the guy.
That's right.
Right. We didn't get that.
They
you know,
left it
who
out.
knows if he left it out, it was editing, or, you know, he refused to talk about it. We don't know that. But in a lot of cases, there is a backstory and there's a reason why they do what they do. Not that there's an excuse per se. Yeah. It's not an excuse to hurt people's feelings and, you know, do that to people, but there was a reasoning behind it. And in her case, you know, like I said, she was, you know, ended up coming, you know, being with older women. That's what she was used to. Jeanette was an older woman, but was somebody that cared for her. They cared for each other. And she was trying to go it on. And she, like she said, she loves her.
Yeah,
she said she loves her.
I don't think that mattered because Jeanette felt some type of way.
Of course.
She was mad. She said, you sold me a false dream, which I can completely understand. And she actually said, I want to hit you so bad. So at first, she just got rage, you know. Right. She just wanted to take all of her pain out. But as we see, as time went by, she kind of just let that go.
Right. No, I mean, one thing is, I think, and I'm glad that, you know, because of course Jeanette was mad, like anybody would be. You know, it's not the right person. It's also a woman. She's not attracted to women. You know, there's a lot of things. She felt hurt. She felt betrayed. All these emotions, you know, basically in that 1 minute of seeing her, all her dreams were gone because she was, like I said, we said before, she was thinking about moving out there. Her daughter was thinking about, going with her. They were going to move as a family. All these things. So if it was who it was, and it was confirmed who she thought the person she was talking to, it would have been all good. But the fact that it wasn't, you figure all those dreams come crashing down. And then you feel lied to, you feel betrayed. There's so much emotion. There's hurt, there's anger, there's a lot going on. I do like the fact, they did kind of leave her and she was just kind of standing outside. They were like, we out. And she was just kind of like, I guess I'll go back in the house now.
I'm done with this.
But I was glad that they came back, and did talk to get her story. I'm glad that Jeanette decided to come back and talk to her, even though the outcome, wasn't what Derick wanted, because Derick still was like, we can make it work. We're gonna have kids. Well, we can have kids.
For a second there, I thought she was gonna make it work too.
Derick was down. Derick was like, let's get past this. We can make it work. But Jeanette was not for that. And she actually said, because Derick said that she loved her, and Jeanette was like, she said, I loved you, but I was in love with the person who I thought you were.
In love with somebody
not
else.
with who was in front of me. And so that was a bold statement, but also a very true statement. And I like the fact that she let her know, like she didn't well maybe, try to smooth it over. She basically
kept it real.
She kept it real and was good about it. Like she wasn't mean. She wasn't because she was upset. She was hurt. She could have said a lot of mean and hurtful things to her.
Yeah.
But I think hearing her story, and kind of seeing the type of person she wasn't out to get her, initially maybe because again, she was playing with her emotions, but she really did love her.
And it just shows overall message of this episode is just be yourself.
Oh yeah.
Honestly.
No, you have to be yourself. And I think people will appreciate when you're yourself, because ultimately, and that's the thing with these catfish situations, very rarely do we see a good ending in the sense that the people come together.
Rarely,
and usually it is because it is the person. Maybe they just were shy or didn't have the finances to go meet them. Like that's really what it was, but it was the person. And then they end up making a relationship or try to go out of a relationship. Yeah. But when it's not you got to know that it's never going to end right. Even if it goes on for 10 years, which some of these catfish we've seen go for 10 years. I was one episode, I couldn't believe it, 10 years. But, eventually it's not going to end up like what you want. And so it's always best to be truthful and honest out the gate.
My man been preaching all night.
I'm just gonna,
This makes me think of something. So you brought up Snapchat and how Snapchat was just like brought up this season, but not in past seasons because it's kind of new.
Right.
So like virtual reality seems to be like where things are headed with that new Samsung thing that hooks to your eyes. And virtual reality. So a lot of issues with catfish seem to be like they build up the emotional relationship, and then when they want to finally get physical, and then they meet that person and it's not who they say, and there's all this lies and deception.
Right.
So do you think when like virtual reality is in like everyone's hands, it's going to completely change the game and people aren't going to care that they're getting catfish because when they want to meet that person, it's whatever person that person wants to create?
That's a
That is a great question.
Actually.
That's a great question. Well, I'll speak on it since I'm so wise and old.
The poet saint.
I've been dropping knowledge tonight.
The poet saint.
Dropping that knowledge. I'll put it like this. This is my point, and then you can definitely give your point.
Yeah.
I think for that, what it'll do is it will prolong the amount of time that they will not be able to see. Like, let's say in this case it was a 9-month situation, and then she was fed up, right?
Yeah.
But I think let's say that was available, then it maybe went 2 years. But eventually, I think the virtual reality will never, ever, I don't care how great it is, I don't think will ever take the place of actual human touch and interaction.
Yeah.
And
Definitely
so
not.
I think it'll just be an extension, because I think those type of things are really good or will be good once it comes alive when, let's say you're with someone and you have a significant other and then they're on a trip or they're extended period of time.
Then that can get
and
real
you want
fun.
to, you know what I'm saying? You want to try out that, to keep the connection going.
Yeah.
But in a situation where you haven't even met this person and haven't had, the physical connection, I think, again, it will be an extender, but I don't think it's going to replace it and cause people to never want to meet up. What do you think?
I think on the positive side of something like that, it will definitely help all types of relationships, whether they're platonic or not platonic. But as far as a catfish situation, I think just like we spoke about earlier, if the partner is too lost in the sauce, meaning if they're so caught up in everything, they won't want to believe that something is wrong on the other side. So even if the person does have this virtual device and they say, oh, it's like broken or something,
right,
the person will still say, oh, okay, it's fine. I don't like, they'll be so caught up that they don't want to believe it.
True.
So yeah.
Okay. It's a good point. But great question. Thank you for that.
Shout
That's
out
really
to
good.
the engineer for
always holding it down. It's my favorite engineer because he always has something to say. And he has great intro music. We should just have him pick the intro music. Are you going to be our engineer every time?
Next week?
I will try.
Okay. He's going to try. He's going to pick our intro music every time. Okay. And then we're just going to let him hold it down. That's how we do it over here at Catfish.
Speaking of next week, what do you think's going to pop off?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, we can't do predictions on this show because it's always a new, set of situation, So, but when the previews, it looked very interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking forward now that I see how they're rolling this season out, where they're having different stuff that we've never seen before. First 2 episodes.
Which is good.
Yeah, never seen before. I'm actually looking forward to what they're going to do next. What's the next thing going to look like? I'm also looking forward to that Karuchi episode because I want to know when that is.
We got to get her inside.
We got to get her in the studio. We'll figure it out.
And bring your best friend Christina.
So we'll figure it out. But yeah, man, that's been the show.
That has been the show.
That has been the show. Knowledge dropped. There it is.
By the Poet Saint, of course.
Oh, I do what I can. All of that good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, like we said, this is a wrap on the Catfish episode 2 for the 5th season. I've been your host, the Poet Saint, a.k.a. Lim Gonsalves, a.k.a. Single and
ready to hop on Soul Swipe.
Soul Swipe. Check out that Soul Swipe. You can find me all day at the Poet Saint, all my social media handles. And Jimmy, where you at, man?
It's your man Jimmy V. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Be Your Own Dad. I got the blog popping, BeYourOwnDad.blogspot.com. Make sure you check that, and always comment your thoughts on this episode. We'd love to hear from you, and we also love to continue the conversation. And also, if you're cute, holler at me. I'm tired of using Tinder.
Oh, gosh.
So,
help us.
I'm just saying, though.
This is not a dating podcast.
But it's Catfish. Let's make it a dating
Oh, my gosh. Please. Oh, we'll say we definitely will be wanting to, starting next episode, make sure you use the hashtag ABTV Catfish, because we will have the live chat jumping off next episode and going forward. So make sure you do that. We look forward to hearing your questions, answering on the air, and that's how we do it. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.